proposals volunteer training for our reviewers. So what we're going to be doing today is just kind of going over what Cyber Grants is going to be doing for us to make sure that we can quickly and efficiently review these proposals. And I know that we're all very excited to see what's going to come from them, as some of our funding areas are a little bit newer to the system than what's been done in the past. So just to give you an idea, we're going to go ahead and look what makes it for a compelling proposal. Then we're going to really look at what the scoring is going to be looking like. Actually, for our funding area 1, it's going to have a bit more information. We're also going to go over the timeline, and then we're going to go through the system of Cyber Grants just so everyone is comfortable with signing on. And then we're going to also go through some questions and answers. So just wanting to make sure everyone knows, we will be ensuring that your identity as a reviewer is only known to our United Way staff. We want to ensure the privacy and just make sure that everyone feels that they can be reviewing without any kind of holding back. So the areas we're going to be doing, well, we do have more than 4 funding areas. These are going to be the 4 that are reviewed. Funding Area 1, which is our Coordinated Entry System. Our Funding Area 2, which is our California Community Foundation Innovations. Our Funding Area number 3, which is the CSH Moving On Initiative. And then, of course, our Funding Area number 4, which is renewals from year 2, or for year 2 that were funded last year. Again, we just want to remind everyone, if you will be reviewing Funding Area 1, we'll actually have 2 reviews happening. That is because we will be having a back and forth with our communities as we are working to have the Coordinated Entry System proposals come in. And that is just, as we said, it's something that's pretty new compared to what we've done in the past. So we want to ensure that we're giving as much support to the community as possible. This is just some information about how the process goes. You know, you'll be trained on how to log in and utilize the scoring system. I will be able to send your username and password after this, after we're off of this call, and we will not be assigning any of our proposals until they come in on the 18th. So you should have access to view them that following Monday. There's 4 parts of the proposals which we're really going to have everyone focus on. We will not make you go into all the financial statements. We do have our financial team in our department which will take care of that. But mostly we're looking at the project summary, the scope of work, expected outcomes, and then of course the organizational capacity and expertise. Again, with the Funding Area 1 Coordinated Entry System, we're going to have guidelines that are a little bit more specific, as these are coming as one collaborative proposal that will be sent out before your reviewing begins next week. We will have them, each proposal reviewed by both a volunteer and a program officer. We also will ensure that we have no more than 3 or 4 proposals per reviewer. And so we just want to ensure that we're being respectful of everybody's time. And then also, once you've completed all of the reviews, we will go ahead and make a final recommendation based off the reviews to our Funders Collaborative. We want to also make sure that any comments that or suggestions or anything like that in your review that you pay special attention to, because we'll also be passing those on to our collaborative. So our goal, as we know with the Home for Good initiative, is to end chronic and veteran homelessness and supply the permanent supportive housing and supportive services in a collaborative way. Our funding priorities with our Home for Good Funders Collaborative is really to see the systems change to support the implementation of Home for Good. As we're looking at consideration for scoring, some of the areas to keep in mind while you're going through, as well as what's going to be on there with our Funding Area 1, our Coordinated Entry System. What systems changes and advocacy goals are outlined in the Home for Good plan that this organization seeks to address, the strategies that will be implemented to create the system, how clearly is that laid out, especially in our Funding Area 1 with our Coordinated Entry System, you know, by a collaborative proposal with the community, as well as what sectors of the community and stakeholders are going to be engaged in the work. And then how will we ensure that our stakeholders will be informed of issues and mobilized to take action? So our online scoring system, I'm going to go ahead and just take us through a walkthrough. It's fairly straightforward, and I'll be sure you see at the end, we do have an area in case you get stuck on anything along the way. We do have Deborah Tucker, who works here at United Way, who would be happy to answer any questions, and we'll have all of her contact information at the end for you. So step one is just getting access to cyber grants. That's going to go ahead and take us to cybergrants.com, and then the client login on the right-hand side of the page is where you would go ahead and put in the username and password that we'll be sending after we go through this training. So this should be the page you see once you go to client login. If you have any issues up until this point, once you explore it next week, please contact either myself or Deborah, and we'd be happy to get you the correct login information. Step 3 is finding the proposal. As you'll see where we're looking, I'm going to use my cursor a little bit here. My pending approval should be highlighted right down here where we have our arrows pointed. If it's not, you can go ahead and click the search button and your proposal should appear. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Step 4, we have our list of proposals. As you'll see which organizations, as we're pointing to, are on the left-hand side, but we don't want you to actually click there when you want to review that proposal. If you click there, that's going to lead you to that client's profile. Instead, the next step is going to be actually to click at the dollar amount all the way to the right, the grant request amount that they have put in. That will be just the way that you're able to access that particular proposal that is in the Home for Good funding areas. So this is just showing you what our interface is really looking like. On the top left corner, you're going to see a snapshot of the organization and their contact information, which is right up here, the project title, proposal type. And then if you scroll down, you can see a couple of different sections and be able to move from one section to the next. If you're definitely a person that's pen to paper, I know I am, being able to print your proposal is also possible, either in a Word or PDF format. The print is going to be right at the bottom here underneath where it says Mail. And again, we're happy to send these slides on for you to keep with you as you go through the reviewing process. The scoring system and criteria, these are some of the things to keep in mind. We will make sure that we have these updated and that they are for what's best for each proposal area or for each funding area, since, again, recommendations for renewals as well as coordinated entry system and such are going to be a little different. But that's more just for your information only. And then when we get to actually inputting of scores, you'll input your scores with a minimum and maximum that's provided for each funding area. These points, as we discussed for those of you who were at the Funders Collaborative meeting last week, those are going to change. We did some work around what areas we really want to focus on. This is the same area I was talking about where we want to look really at the comments, and we take those very seriously as those are passed on to the Funders Collaborative to ensure that any questions or areas to look at are supported by the points that are given. Final step then is going to be your submission, and you're going to do recommend or do not recommend for the overall proposal. This will be again at the bottom. We're working on seeing if it's possible for the total scores to be tabulated in a new way this year. So we're actually waiting for our vendor to give us the yes or no on that, but this is where you would recommend or not recommend. And then you're able to go back through and check your work, absolutely. We have our submitted proposals and recommendations under approval previously performed, and then you also can go under a grants involving me window, which will show you which ones you've already recommended or not recommended. So now we're going to jump into the timeline. This is really to just kind of go through when people are going to be submitting and when we would like the proposal been scored by, just to ensure that we have enough turnaround time to make the recommendations to the Funders Collaborative, and then be able to start that conversation for the funding area 1 in time for our our LOAs to go out. So the deadline for commitments, we already had on April 9th. Thank you all for being here and for committing your time. Our proposals are due this Friday, which is going to be obviously the 18th. We're already at the voluntary training today. This is going to be the last one, but again, we are recording just to ensure that those who are unable to make it do have the option to listen in. April 22nd is when we're going to go ahead and assign those proposals for reading and scoring to begin. We may be able to get it out a minute or two quicker, maybe the day before, but that's going to be our goal for next Tuesday. And then having all proposals scored back to us at United Way on May 9th. And that's going to be just in time for us to have the May Funders Collaborative meeting to begin making recommendations. Again, this is Deborah's information below that I mentioned earlier. If you have any questions with the process along the way and you're feeling stuck or your username and password aren't working, please do not hesitate to let us know if we can help you in any way at all.